It's game time. You gotta understand what's going on right now. Hey, it's a special edition. Why? Because we got a special somebody here right now. You gotta understand what they go by. But most importantly, you gotta understand where they came from. My main man is in the building right now, still battling jet lag as we speak. I think it's fair to say. Huh? Come on now. Yeah. He said it's 4 a.m. in his hometown right now. So my man is a little sleepy, looking sheepy. You got to understand. I'm coming through right now. I have a very, very, very special guest in the building. He is all the way from the UK.
Yeah, man.
London in the building.
Yeah, man.
He goes by the name of Woodzy. You gotta understand. My man's in the building right now. Come on now. Man. My main man Woodzy, how you feeling?
I'm good, man. I'm tired, but I'm good. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yes, sir. Welcome to the Unselfish Behavior Podcast.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me, man.
You have to understand where you at. This is the #1 podcast in LA. You must understand
100%.
that. You must know that.
I feel blessed to be here,
Come
man.
on now.
Come on.
Look, and look, the homegirl Felicia K plugs you in with the right one, because we're gonna have a lot of fun. I'm gonna make sure my guy is well taken care of. But most importantly, I'm gonna make sure people are inspired and empowered by your story before you leave back on the flight. And hopefully we do the same in that, you know what I'm saying, when you post this video out there in the UK and put them on to the Unselfish Behavior Podcast.
Put all the London lot onto this.
Come on now, you gotta understand it. So usually, man, this is what we do here. This is how we rock here.
Yeah.
When we have guests, and this is a guest-based podcast, Woodzy, you understand it?
Yeah, man.
And what we do is we usually allow the guests to have the floor to just kind of talk to the people a little bit about who you are, what you do, and what you stand for those out there that don't know my main man Woodzy. Just kind of talk a little bit about those 3 things: who you are, what you do, and what you stand for.
Okay, so I'm Woodzy. I'm 25, from London. Well, I'm actually from Surrey, which is just outside of London in the UK. I'm an only child, so no siblings. My mum and dad have been married 27 years. They're very inspirational to me.
Nice.
I'm a spoken word artist / poet / rapper / creative.
Come on.
Slash Pokemon master.
Come on now.
Come on.
He ain't playing with y'all. He's fucking around.
Yeah, man. I studied theatre at the Brit School in Croydon in London, which was incredible. So the likes of Amy Winehouse and Adele and people like that all come out of the Brit School. So that was really cool. After that, being around all the creative people there, I decided to go more into music. So I guess performance has always been my kind of thing, because I was always into drama and theatre.
I see, yeah.
And then I moved more into music, started just on the playground, I guess, at college, just like writing rhymes and doing stuff like when you're in groups of people, just writing like 16 bars.
Absolutely.
And then I got more into music through my friend Charlie. So he was running a kind of comedy rap kind of thing. And yeah, man, so he got me to just like write 16 bars, come on this set, and I got such a hype from doing it, such a good feeling. I was like, this is what I need to do. I went home, and then suddenly it was like something clicked, and just started writing. So yeah, from there I was like doing rap. I did a Tim Westwood session. I know Tim
Westwood is huge. You gotta understand. We
man.
know who Tim Westwood is.
Yeah, man. So I've been on Tim Westwood TV. That was really cool. Put a couple of projects out, and then after that I met a lady called the Flow Assist. So she was part of Flowetry.
Come on now, we know who Flowetry is. We know who that is. Come on now.
So she's my mentor now, so I'm doing poetry and spoken word under her as one of the Flow poets. So there's around 15 of us.
Nice.
And that's my family. Like, nice. Flow Poets is my family. So yeah, Auntie Flo, she's incredible. Like she's such an inspirational person. And it's honestly an honor to work with her. And then aside from my poetry, I work as well. So I coach soccer.
Nice.
I call it football.
Come on,
call it football back home.
Call it football back home. You know,
proper football.
That part. The real football. I don't know what the fuck. Football. I don't know where that even started at for Americans calling fucking football out here. It's
I don't know, because we got a version that's kind of similar, but we call it rugby.
Y'all do got rugby out there.
Yeah. So the ball's kind of the similar.
You know,
shape.
America always stealing some shit and masking it like we own it. But go ahead, brother. You know.
So yeah, man. So I coach football with little ones, or soccer with little ones, and that's great as well. So I love working with kids and trying to motivate them and get them into stuff like that. And the fact that I do poetry and I do football coaching as well, I've decided to put the two together. So I'm currently writing a children's poetry book.
Nice.
And I'm gonna like involve soccer and stuff like that, and obviously some like proper good messages in there as well. But I'm gonna base it around soccer because that's like the main sport in England. Like everyone loves it. It's crazy.
Man, I hear you talking, and I'm hearing a lot of things centered around just culture. I'm hearing a lot of things centered around hip hop. I'm hearing a lot of things centered around creative arts. And for me, you know, I'm a huge, and I mean huge, my brother, battle rap fan.
Yeah.
You know where I'm going.
Okay.
You know where I'm going.
You know
if you're from the UK, you know exactly where I'm going.
Horror,
Come
man.
on now. Of course now I know Shotty Horror. You got to understand that. Come on now.
Yeah, man.
That boy's bad.
Yo,
he's a motherfucking
that
beast.
battle he did against Arsenal.
Oh yeah, that's the one. I think that was where I got put on to him.
Yeah.
And I've never seen nobody go at Arsenal the way that I seen Shawty Horror go at this brother. Because before I seen that battle, the biggest one that was attached to Arsenal's name was probably Conceited.
Okay, yeah.
That was back in the day. That was when grind time was cracking. But the culture out there just seems very engulfed in hip hop.
Yeah, it's a massive hip hop culture.
Huge, right?
Massive.
You guys have a lot of artists who come out there and do tours and shit like that too, right?
Yeah. So we've had loads of people come over. And what's great now is so after hip hop in the UK, we had something called grime music. I don't know if you've heard of grime music. No. So grime music's been around for around 20 to 25 years.
Nice.
But just in the last couple of years, the new generation have kind of taken it up. So there's a guy who's doing amazing things called Stormzy. And
yeah. Tall, dark brother.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
So he's just done the Breakfast Club over here.
I just seen that. Yep.
Yeah. So
he's huge.
Yo, he's incredible.
He's that guy.
And the maddest thing is, so it must have been 4 or 5 years ago now. So it was before he kind of like really blew up. I supported him at one of his shows, and now to see where he is, he's just incredible.
Isn't that something?
It's amazing. So like last night we had the Brit Awards, which is like our version of the Grammys.
I saw that. Tyler the Creator won an award down there.
Yeah,
I saw that.
His speech has gone mad in the UK because
he called out
Theresa May.
Yeah, that's right.
So,
that's right.
She was the Prime Minister before,
Yeah.
and she said he wasn't allowed in the country. So he said, I know she's pissed off right now, and this award's for her.
Dedicated
so everyone loves him in the UK right now.
Come on now.
Yeah, man.
I love it, man. It's so interesting to see the cultural differences but similarities at the same time.
Definitely.
Between just kind of being in the States opposed to being overseas in Europe. One of the biggest things though I think about is kind of like, and I'm gonna kind of take it for a turn, and this is kind of how I do Woodzy, because I listen to people talk and I formulate questions as I hear you speak. And one of the things that came to my mind is, like I just said, the cultural similarities but also the cultural differences. And out here we deal with this big R word out here. I'm not sure if you've heard of it, racism. Yeah, we deal with it heavy out here. Yeah, we like getting our ass beats and shit by police officers out here. I don't know if y'all deal with that, but it's real heavy out here. And one of the things that I can say is everyone who I know has been to London, they've experienced it, but it's completely different. Okay. How do you experience, in being a Caucasian brother from Europe, you know what I'm saying? How do you experience just kind of racism out there? Is it alive and well, or is it...
I mean...
everybody loving each other, hugging each other, eating biscuits and potatoes and shit, or what's going on?
So the UK like to portray themselves as they're not racist. So they'll come across as they're not racist. So all the main newspapers and everything, as soon as anyone mentions anything to do with racism, they're like,
throw it off, blow it off.
None of that. But then what was crazy is Stormzy, who I mentioned a minute ago, someone asked him in an interview and they said, is London or the UK racist? And he said, yeah, 100% it is.
Wow.
And from him saying, yeah, 100%, all the newspapers then took it and they've said, Stormzy says the UK is 100% racist. Wow. So they just completely changed what he said, because he just agreed and said, yeah, 100% it is. Like, he's just agreeing with it.
And they took it as he said 100%.
It's 100% of the UK
everybody's
is racist.
Got you.
And what's crazy is the new prime minister that we've got, everyone hates him. So he's like our version of Donald Trump.
Got you.
So his name's Boris Johnson, and if you even look at him, he looks like a UK version of Donald Trump.
That's fucking sick.
So it's disgusting, man. And he's one of the most racist people in the country.
Wow.
And what's sad is, like, all the younger generation, and if you were on Twitter, sorry, I don't know if you can get Twitter.
We got you.
Twitter, yeah.
We got Twitter.
So if you were on Twitter at the time of the elections, it looked like Labour was going to win. So that's who everyone in my generation wanted to win the election. So there's a guy called Jeremy Corbyn who's kind of like for the people, trying to do everything for the people. Gotcha. He's a really cool guy. And we all wanted, nearly all of my friendship group and everyone my age wanted Labour to win, because then it would have changed everything.
Gotcha.
But then there's the Tories, which is Boris Johnson.
Okay.
And they won by a landslide.
Wow.
And it's mainly because all of, like, the main part of England, so London, would have all voted for Labour, like most of them. But then all around the other parts of the UK in the countryside and stuff like that, where there's like a bunch more people, because they're not, I guess, in as much like contact with people, so they just voted for the Tories.
Got you.
So when it got announced, just in the UK, everyone was depressed for like a week. It was like crazy. But what's crazy is at the Brit Awards last night, there's a rapper called Dave.
Okay.
And he actually said in his, like, he did this performance, I can't quote it because it was yesterday, but he said something along the lines of, our Prime Minister is racist, this is racist. And he mentioned everything that is racist in the UK. And then today, I've seen people are posting, all the white people are posting, like the white people that are high up are posting, if this was the other way around, it would be considered racist.
Got you.
And it's like, no, it wouldn't. Like,
it.
And honestly, it was one of the best performances the Brit Awards has ever had.
Yeah.
So, yeah, crazy, man.
That's something, man. Look, I'm over here mind going, and I'm thinking to myself, man, it's so refreshing to have somebody sit across from you that has a like mind, but not necessarily looks the same as you. And I think that people in today's age get so caught up in judging the outside of the book before reading the book, if you will. Don't judge a book by its cover, reference there. But I think it's important for us to talk about things like this and to just kind of figure out a way to move more so in unity as a people.
Definitely.
And we don't have to be from the same country or from the same states in order to create a sense of unity amongst 100%. Our people. My main man Woodzy and King Q sitting across from a table, even having this conversation is powerful. You got to understand what I'm saying, right? And it's absolutely beautiful to see. I want to kind of switch gears back to the spoken word. For me, I'm a spoken word artist myself. I have been for the last 4 years. Don't be laughing, Woodsy, because
I told my man,
it
makes me happy.
I told my man Woodsy. Let me tell y'all why Woodsy laughing, because I told Woodsy off the camera that I'm a retired spoken word artist, and my main man Woodzy told me I could never be retired. You know what I'm saying?
Man, you can't be. Once you're a poet, that's it. Once you're a spoken word artist,
that's real. That's real. It's always in you. But it's, the spoken word aspect of what I do in the poetry is what actually opened the gateway for me to even be here, to have a platform like a podcast, because it showed me the power of words. Oh, I gotta tell you.
Yeah, man.
It showed me the power of words. It showed me the power, most importantly, of sharing your story.
100%.
Authenticity, baby. It showed me that there is no power in your story unless you share it.
Yeah, that's
hence
very
the name,
true.
Unselfish
behavior. Yeah, man.
That's where it came from. Because I understand the powers in us sharing our stories as a people, Woodzy, and there are so many people out here, big dog, in the world who have powerful stories, who have powerful testimonies. They have gems to share. They have all types of shit to give to people to make other people better, but they're holding back and giving that because of surface level shit like being shy, or I've never done that before, so not having the experience. Or how about this one? The feedback that they get from people around them tells them that they can't do that because they've never done it, or our family have never done it. What's kind of your feedback on going after the things you want, even if it makes you look stupid or different or weird? Talk to those people that's kind of dealing with that.
Yeah, I think you just have to, sometimes you just have to dive in at the deep end. Yeah. And you don't know how something's going to be perceived if you've never actually done it. So you might have all these thoughts, say, oh, I've got like this poem, but I'm not a poet, so I can't share it.
Right, I've heard that before too.
And I meet loads of people and they're like, yeah, I write, but I'm not ready to share it, right? And I get it partly because there's certain things that I will write that are just for myself that I won't share.
I agree.
But then there's other things and I write and I'm like, this needs to be shared. Like I have to share this with people.
Yeah.
So I feel like a lot of it is self-belief as well. Like you just have to believe in yourself and just trying new things. It's so important to try new things. And even if it doesn't get the reception that you wanted, you've still been brave enough to actually go out there and to try it.
That's right. The celebration is in the attempt. I gotta say 100%. That again. The celebration should be in the attempt, not what the initial goal was. Because what happens is we set these goals for ourselves in our lives, Woodzy, and what people are so accustomed to doing is focusing on the actual reward of setting the goal and not the journey in order to get what the goal was, right? So everybody wants to hold the trophy up, but nobody wants to spend long hours in the gym when nobody's around. Nobody wants to put in the extra hours. Nobody wants to sacrifice going to the club. Nobody wants to put their phones down. Nobody wants to sacrifice sleep. I love my main man, Eric Thomas. He says, some people say they want to be sick. Do you know who Eric Thomas is, by the way?
I don't
E.T.
know.
the hip hop preacher. I gotta put you on to this,
yeah,
brother,
man.
He's
Put
very,
me on.
very powerful.
Okay.
A lot of people say I'm his protege,
Yeah?
but I just say
Okay.
not today because I'm King Q. But what I'm saying is this. You like how I work
Yeah,
that up.
man.
But what I'm saying is this. He says a lot of people say they want success, but they're not willing to do the things in order to sustain, in order to actually obtain success.
Yeah.
He says some people like sleep more than they like success.
Yeah.
But more than anyone, right? And it's like, yo, at some point in the journey, I just feel like especially if you're walking in purpose, and you're a man that's walking in purpose, and we're gonna talk about that too. I feel like at some point in the journey, bro, it just clicks. You just realize that, like,
100%.
I am going to accomplish this fucking mission by any means necessary.
Yeah.
Nothing's gonna stop me. No job, no college, no fucking relationship. No, everything has to be in alignment with the mission. And
So
once
true.
that clicked for me, I'm like, yo, it's ball game.
Yeah.
Everything becomes so much more clear.
100%.
Have you experienced that in your journey? If so, what's that looked like for you?
Yeah, so definitely the moment that it kind of like clicked for me is I'd been doing like rap and hip hop for a while, and I'd heard of spoken word. There's this guy called George the Poet who's an incredible spoken word artist in the UK. So I'd heard his stuff and I was like, this is really cool, but I'd never been to like a spoken word show or anything like that. And it was funny because I used to go to kind of like a youth program, and the lady who ran it ended up like 10 years later making a spoken word show. And she sent me a message. It was like, oh, you need to come down and just check this out. Because she was like, I know you do music and stuff. You could just do like a rap a cappella or something like that.
Right.
So I went down to the show, and I saw this guy perform called Broken Pen, right? And
That's such a dope name. Broken Pen.
Broken Pen.
I fucks with it.
Yeah.
That's
So he's actually now one of my best friends. So he's one of the flow poets as well.
Nice.
But the first time I saw him perform, I was completely blown away. Like I was like, this is like a mixture of rap and hip hop, but with spoken word, and it was just like something just clicked for me. I was like, wow, okay. And then after that, I became like, I guess at first I was kind of like a fan of him.
Yeah.
And we got talking. He took me to some shows, and then I ended up performing as well. And from hanging around with him was when I got to go to Flow Vortex, and I met the Flow Assist. And it's like, since I found poetry and spoken word, everything has become more clear. So like, I'll see anything as a poem. So like, I used to have a job. I used to have a job at a restaurant, right? And it was at like a service station on the highway. And there was a sign for like all these other food places that they had there, right?
Okay.
And I was just looking. It was like a quiet time at work, and I was looking out the window, and I don't think you've got this place here. It's called Pizza Express.
Pizza Express.
Yeah, I think it might just be a UK.
I think I
food
saw a
chain.
little hood spot called Pizza Express, but I could be wrong. I could be wrong.
But so I was looking at it, and I was like, how can I like piece this like word together?
Right.
Pizza Express, and I was looking at it and I was like, right, a piece of her ex presses my buttons.
That's a motherfucking poet.
Right? And then from that turned into a whole poem called Date Night, and it was about when your girl can't make up her mind about where she wants to go and eat, right? And you go through that thing and you're like, where should we eat?
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, I don't know, I don't mind, you pick.
Or she hit you with the, hey, you ever got hit with this one? Oh, no, I'm not hungry. And then you order your food and
then
she eat all your
eats it.
shit.
Yeah, man.
God
Yeah.
damn, I thought your ass wasn't hungry. I deal with it all the time. You got to understand it. It's a goddamn problem. I need therapy. Huh? Be visuals probably deal with it too. But go ahead.
So yeah, man, that ended up turning into a whole poem. And it's one of my favorite poems to perform now. So
Love it.
It's really cool. So I called it Date Night. And so I do all the food reference places. I probably won't do it here because a lot of them are UK based.
Right.
Some of them you'd get like Subway and places like that.
Yeah.
But then I use a lot of movie references towards the end of it as well. And
Nice.
But everything I see, like now when I just see a word, like I'll look at it completely different how I used to.
Yeah.
And what's crazy is
It's like that. It's like
when I
that.
was in school as well, I didn't really like poetry. Like the way it was taught, I was like, found it boring. All we learned about was
Yeah.
like Shakespeare and stuff like that.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
It just wasn't for me. And I feel like if they were to teach spoken word as well as poetry in school, it could completely change loads of things. Like it could change how kids look at poetry.
That's right.
I feel like if there's kids who don't know how to get their word across and they're always in trouble, it's a great way of self-expression.
Absolutely.
And I feel like that's something that probably should be put into school curriculums.
I agree. I've actually held a few workshops out here in regards to creative writing used as therapy for students. I absolutely fucking agree. I think that students need outlets emotional outlets.
100%.
Because especially when, man, people don't understand, when you're dealing with a bunch of shit at home and then you got to come to school and hear a teacher talk about a bunch of shit you ain't got no interest in for hours in a day, it makes you more frustrated than you even came to school holding, right? It's
Definitely.
like, I think that students need meditation classes. I think they need classes centered around mental health. I think they need creative writing workshops or platforms to be able to just show them that there's other ways. Another thing that stood out to me was in regards to the creative writing aspect and getting kids more drawn to poetry. One of the things I'll say that drew me to poetry was the hip hop element to poetry. I realized that some of the most influential hip hop artists considered themselves as poets.
100%.
Right? Tupac, for example, it's like he was a straight poet. You know what I'm saying? He took pride in that. Poetry is having the ability to take a story, an experience, and creating a healing mechanism through it. It became a form of therapy for me when I first started doing poetry. And I love how you said I have certain poems, and I still do till this day, that are only for me, that only I know even exist. And then I have some poems that I know that you know
share.
that I want to share.
Other people need to hear
and other
it
people
as well.
got to hear this. I can't even hold this to myself. I got to share that thing. So you know, I think it's just alignment, man. Everything we're talking about is just having the ability to be unselfish within the journey. Another thing that we talked about off camera was the ability to get through adversity. I think that we live in a generation, my main man Woodzy, to where people want to accomplish something without going through anything. Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely.
It's like, yo, I want to obtain this, but once adversity hits, then I start to question whether or not it was for me anyway. And for me, one of the biggest messages that I'm trying to get out to the world is that is to embrace the journey. Embracing the journey means,
it's like there's one of my favorite quotes is success is a journey, not a destination.
There we go. And absolutely, and I completely agree with that. And like I was saying, you have to fall in love with the journey, and a part of falling in love with the journey is falling in love with the failure that comes with it.
Definitely.
And I'm not saying fall in love with failure from a loser perspective. No. I'm saying fall in love with what failure brings out of you.
Yeah, you've got to see every failure as a lesson.
That's
and
right.
another step on that journey.
There we
because
go.
If you automatically go from like saying, right, if I was like, I want to be a poet, and the next day I wake up I'm the most famous poet, then what am I gonna do? Like, then you've got nothing else. You got no motivation.
You don't really appreciate it as much either.
So I feel like that's why you see with a lot of like music artists as well. Their first album will be their best piece of work, right? Because they're hungry at that point. That's what they want to do. And then they get to that point. They've made that album. They're like,
comfortable.
What do I write about now? Like I've done all the hardship to get here. So now I'm living this lifestyle. I can't really then write about I'm still living this lifestyle, because then you're just lying. So I think what you said, like the journey is the most important thing. And I feel like everyone is always on that journey as well.
Absolutely. So it's a never-ending journey, because that journey is in alignment with self-discovery, personal development, healing, learning. And I'm big on just like, man, being a student to life. I tell people all the time, Woodzy, I never want to get to the point to where I feel like I have this shit figured out. I don't even want to get there. I don't want to get to a point to where I feel like I can't learn anymore. I constantly want to be a sponge. I constantly want to feel like a premature fucking baby who knows absolutely fucking nothing, because that's what gives me the ability to learn the most. It's knowing that, bro, honestly, I don't know shit. The only thing that I'm sharing are things that have helped me along my personal journey, and I think that's our only obligation and our only job down here. It's to allow yourself to go through experiences and then share with other people how you got through those experiences. That's what it's all about, right?
It's all about sharing that.
Absolutely. And I love talking to people, Woodzy, about the differences between your dream and your purpose. See, now we're about to talk that shit. Woodzy, we're about to talk that shit now, because we need to talk that shit. And when I got my new fans, that's right, my new fans out there in the UK, because they're going to be tuned into this and they're going to say, damn, who is that dude? I like him. He's charismatic. And I'm going to say, that's K&Q. It's game time. And so what I'm saying is this. It's very important for us to understand the difference between a dream and a purpose. And you being friends with Felicia Cage, she's very, very, very purpose-driven.
Yes, she is.
Everything with her is purpose. And I've met quite a few people along my journey, hence the people that's a part of my team right now, that are also purpose-driven. We understand the difference between chasing a dream and manifesting a purpose. How do you kind of differentiate the two? And how do you just kind of, you know, what's kind of your perspective on that? The difference between purpose and a dream, if you find it a difference.
Yeah, I feel like your dream is something where, like when you're a kid, you dream to be this, you dream to be, you dream of having, like, I think when you're a kid, you dream of, I want to be famous, I want to be this, right?
Yeah.
And then as you grow up and you mature, you start to get the purpose of things a lot more. So when I was younger, I would have dreamed to have been like a soccer player or something like that. Now with the purpose of what I do, like, it's more wanting to inspire people, and then the fact that you can inspire people, that's going to inspire you as well. The fact that you're able to inspire somebody with something that you've written. So you might write something that's just for you, and then you feel like, actually, let me try and share it with someone. And so I've got a piece that I've done about mental health. So one of my friends runs a boxing company in Wales, which is it's near England. It's like the next little bit over.
Gotcha.
And they do a lot of work with a charity called The Mind.
Okay.
The Mind's charity. And he's suffered through a lot of mental health issues as well.
Okay.
So I wrote a poem called Man Down. And I based it around boxing and mental health, put the two together.
Gotcha.
And what's great is I performed it at a few shows, and then there'll be people who are from a kind of older generation that come up to me and they're like, thank you so much for just talking about that.
Yeah.
Because it's something that isn't spoken about enough. And that brings me like such happiness being able to talk about that.
Right. It's so interesting, brother, because the importance of pouring into other people, that's what just stood out to me when I was hearing you talk. Because what differentiates the dream and the purpose is centered around servicing others.
Yes.
The dream could be completely self-centered and selfish. It
could be.
Let's be honest.
Yeah.
You know, and a lot of people's dreams out here are to be a star and to be on the fucking main stage and to be this and to be that. But a lot of those dreams, if we're being completely honest, are self-centered. They're ego-driven, and they're not really driven behind pouring into other people's life on an intentional level.
Yeah.
I think when you're walking in your purpose, you understand your obligation to other people. I cannot not do this. I can't not do this. I just can't.
Yeah.
Because there are going to be people that are not going to be able to become their best selves off of me not saying yes to my purpose.
Yeah, I get you.
Man, and like once I understood that, it was ball game. Me understanding your craft and respecting the craft even before I heard it, because it's not easy to be a spoken word artist. Y'all got to understand that. It takes a very confident and vulnerable individual to be able to share their truth in an authentic way, right? And so what I want you to do for me, my main man Woodzy, and all the Unselfish Behavior Podcast listeners, you know, if you got a little piece on you that you wouldn't mind, you know what I'm saying, just kind of, you know what I'm saying, putting that stank on for us one time. Go and give us a little, you know what I'm saying, a little poetry piece. You think you got one for us?
Yeah, I got a little one.
Okay,
so,
talk to us.
This piece is called Stop It. And so the Flow Poets, we've been working on a campaign with trying to stop knife crime. And so the main point of it was to call the piece Stop It.
Okay.
And we set it as like an Instagram challenge. So anyone can get involved, and they have to write 45-second to a minute piece.
Nice.
And call it Stop It. And
Love
just
it.
talk about knife crime, because it's such a big thing in the UK.
Talk that talk.
Obviously, I know like guns and everything is bad here. We don't really have guns in the UK.
This nigga's getting stabbed out here too. But
yeah,
go ahead.
yeah. So, but knife crime is like, it's been on the rise for probably the last 5 to 10 years. And we're trying to think of different ways to stop it.
Out there just getting stabbed with knives?
It's crazy, like over crazy things like postcodes. So where you live, so like your zip code. So if someone's got a different zip code to you, they'll be like enemies and stuff like that.
Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, man, it's crazy. So and there was this whole campaign that was launched by the government, which is the craziest thing. So they put, because where the main places of knife crime happen, we're in like kind of like the hood areas back home.
Yep.
So there's all these chicken shops back home, like that just do like fried chicken and stuff. And they decided to put knife free on the boxes with the chicken in, right? And that is the stupidest idea. Like what?
Yeah.
So there's a part in the poem that I say, why are you putting knife free on a chicken shop box, right? So I'll just get straight into it. So this piece is called Stop It.
Come on now.
There's too many people staying silent like the K in knife. How about we take a trip in the day in the life of a knife? Another arm, another chest, more blood stains on a vest, another arm, another back, another life that we can't get back, Another family tree's branch has fallen. Lives leaving like leaves in the autumn. Can't abort the mission, see section 7. Can't support a child or learn a lesson that you never been taught. There'll be no ball games, just suicides before the court. No layups once they lay down the law, yes. Speak up but don't speak down to anybody if you're not sure. You shouldn't speak on something if you know nothing about it. Putting knife free on a chicken shop box thinking it will stop is not the way to go about it. Because now people will associate chicken shops with knife crime. Maybe it's just a publicity stunt to get more people talking about it on their timeline. But people losing lives is more than just a trend. It will cause more backlash than hashtags, but I'm not really sure what's more important to them. They want to increase stop and search, thinking it'll make knife crime decrease. Please, if you want to increase stop and search, then you should just bring about Ask Jeeves. See, I can't stop it, but I can give you my voice. Maybe you can stop it. You have a choice. Together, we can stop it. Let's start with some noise. That's called Stop It. Thank you, man.
Oh, you a bad motherfucker, ain't you? Huh? Oh, you really do this. Oh, you really do this. Oh, he really do. You gotta understand what just happened right now. This is my main man Woodzy from the UK. He just torched y'all motherfucking ass with a dope ass poem.
And it's like 5 a.m. at home. Let me just
come on now. Yeah, so he had to channel that energy from a spiritual source right now, if you will, because my brother's still jet lagged. But look, man, it was a lot of fun having you, brother. I'm very excited that we had the opportunity to sit down and
thank you so much
inspire the people. You know what I'm saying? And just kind of give them
conversation.
Absolutely, and it's been well-rounded, which is a blessing always. Definitely. But before we have you leave, and I'm sorry to put you on the spot in advance, but this is what we do here at the Unselfish Behavior Podcast. You got to understand it. We always allow our guests to leave with what we call here an unselfish message. You'll look right at this camera right here, which is your camera. If you ain't noticed, my man.
I had a feeling.
Come on now. Looking right at you, my brother. Come on now. That's you right there. So you're going to look at that camera right there, and you're going to lead the people what we call here an unselfish message. This message could be centered around absolutely anything you stand for, anything we've discussed, anything you want to make sure that the people know and just kind of drive home right now what that last ending message will be from our main man, Woodzy from the UK. Yes.
No worries. All right. Well, what's going on, people? This is Woodzy, and the message I want to leave to you is stay positive in everything that you're doing. If you're going through something, it's going to get better, and always try and write something down. Even if you're not a poet, just try and write something down. Doesn't matter when it is, what it is. It could be one line, it could be one page. Just try and write something down. See what comes to you, and stay positive, be kind, and yeah, man, just have a good time.
My main man Woodzy in the building. Thank you again, my brother.
Thank you.
It was an absolute honor, an absolute pleasure. And you are officially a part of history, my brother. You know what I'm saying? You're a part of the #1 podcast in LA. You got to understand that I ain't speaking Spanish. But look, what I'm saying is this. Before we end every single episode, my brother Woodzy always got to shout the team out. My main man, be visuals behind the cameras. You got to understand who that is. That's the mind. That's the guru. That's the production. You got to understand what's happening. And then we got the queen of the podcast. That's right. My queen, that is. She goes by the name of Simone. You understand? She ain't got my last name yet, but that soon come. Play that drum. Fee 5 fum. With that being said, I'm fucking fool, Woodzy. With that being said, I'm your host, King Q. My man Woodzy from the UK. That is a wrap for this episode. Until next time, we out.